Good morning everyone, and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity and my slight croaky throat, so I do apologise for that. Right, today we are up with Globeland, and if you remember the haul the other day, this is one of the stamp sets that came. You can see that there's a stamp missing there because I've already loaded it onto my block. So if you want to see this full set of stamps and measurements, do look at the original haul. Right, so I've got my postcard stamp, which as you can see is rather large. I'm not sure if I measured this or not, so let's give it a quick measurement. It is 4 inches by 2 5/8, a fraction over. So that is the postcard stamp. Now what we're doing today is we're using 4 different colours of oxide. We're using prize ribbon, black soot, festive berries and tea dye. You could use whatever colours that you want to, but we're going to do an old technique, and the reason that I want to do it is because there are a lot of new people to crafting. Not everybody knows everything, and a lot of people don't know how to do this or are even aware that it exists. But you do not just have to stamp your stamps in black ink or grey ink or whatever ink you want to do. You can do your stamps in multiple colours. So that's what we're going to do, because it's a great way to turn ephemera style stamps into something that looks awesome in your planner. So I have cut 2 pieces of cardstock here. I'm putting one over to the side, and if we've got time and everybody wants to sit there for a little bit longer, we'll stamp another one after. But here I've got my postcard. Now I've got my dibbers or my daubers, whatever you want to call them, out of my dauber box. These are from AliExpress, and my daubers are obviously matching the inks that I've got. So now I'm going to show you how to do a multicolour stamp. So I'm going to start off with festive berries, and I'm just juicing this up. And I want to do the edge of the postcard, which is that, you know, that border. I actually found my postcardy ribbon, so it's kind of a border like that, if you know what I mean. But we're going to do it in red, so I'm just going to take my dauber and go around the edge of that. And I may go around it a couple of times more. If you find that your ink is repelling, don't worry about it, because you usually find it comes out all right in the end. Oh yes, terrible throat. Right, so I'm going to stick with that bit of red for now, and then the next thing I want to do, looking at it, I think I'm going to use my blue. So I'm getting my prize ribbon, and I hope I'm not all blurred and you can see it all. And I want my stamp to be blue, so I'm just going to go onto my stamp. Now I'll tell you what's interesting is that the red ink is really repelling quite bad around that edge, because if you look at the prize ribbon, it's kind of going onto the stamp. So that's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. And then I've got this area down here, and I'm wondering what colour I want there. I think I'm going to go tea dye with that and just let the stamp stand out. So that's my stamp, and I've got all my blue ink onto there. I think I might have to touch my red up again after. Now don't worry about your drying time at this point. When I say don't worry about your drying time, I don't mean walk away and leave it for several hours. No, don't do that. But you know, you've got a few minutes, and you can see exactly how long it's taking me to do this. So I've decided I'm going in with tea dye over everything. So I'm just popping that in there, and then I'm going to decide which bits of black soot I want, because I can go over the tea dye with my black soot. So I've gone there. Don't worry about getting ink down on the base of your stamp, you know, in the indenty bits, because you can wash it. Right, so that's the tea dye, and now I'm going to use some black soot. So I just need that one there. Hold it up so you've got a bit of light. Now I want my postcard word to be black, so I'm going along there. And I can see that there's a stamp bit there, and I think I'm going to do that bit black as well. So there's a few bits that I just want to stand out. So if you take a good look at the image of your stamp before you do this, you kind of get a gist of where it is that you want to be. And I'm just going to go red again on my edges. And don't worry if it goes into your colour, that doesn't matter. So let's have a look at this. Oh, we're only 6 minutes in, so we'll probably do another one. Now, I'm not the best freehand stamper, so anyway, here goes. And let's see what we end up with. So I'm using a little bit of CPR here on my lovely new stamp block. Isn't it lovely? I mean, look at the size of it. I mean, I've just measured the stamp so you know how big it is, and it was just $1 from the Maker's Movement. Right, so the moment of revelation. I think maybe I should have done the Express in black, and obviously if I'd have used a stamp platform I could have done it. Ooh, well, that's not bad. So we've got postcard. I might have actually over inked the red, to be honest with you. And we've got little elements in black, and we've got the stamp in blue. So I'm happy with that. And I'm going to go in with some tea dye to finish the colour of it off before I trim it. So I'm just going here, and I'm only doing it gently. So don't worry about any blurry bits or anything like that, because all you're doing is making some vintagey style ephemera. Just going to turn that around, and then we'll have a go with another stamp in a minute. See if we can't get some more colours into it. Now you may want to dry before going over again with another ink, because of course oxide will blend until it is dry. So I quite like that. It's all grungy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run away and trim it, and then we'll come back and do another one. Right, so I went off and I tidied up, and I also did another one, and I did do the Express in black so that you can see it a lot better. And I think I prefer this colour combination to that one, but it's entirely up to you. And then all I've done is go around the edge afterwards with a little bit of black soot, but you can totally distress them. Right, so that is the postcard done two ways, and I've just grabbed these stamps. Now before I do anything, I'm going to remove this ticket stamp and this stamp, and I've got another sheet of cardstock. I'm just going to pop those down there for a second, because this approved one I quite like. So you can pretend like you're sitting in the office and you're getting all approved, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to approve this. There. Now I'm happy. Yeah, I love making bits of ephemera, and I'm going to do it again. And there we go. Yes, so those two have now been approved. I like those. Yes, I do. So that one's going to need cleaning, so I'm just moving that one out of the way. Right, so next up, let's do the stamp first. This is the smaller one that comes in that set, and I'm going to pop that on there. And what I've decided is I'm going to try and stick with the same colours. So I'm going to go with tea dye, and I'm just going to put a little bit down in the background because I want to trim this off. So I'm just smooshing a bit down where I'm going to put that stamp, and that's because I want tea dye to be my base colour. So I've just got a little bit swirled down there. And then for my stamp, I'm going to go with prize ribbon again. Yeah, why not? It's a great colour. I do like this colour. So all I'm going to do now is just go all over that stamp. And then we're going to stamp it right down into that area that we already put the tea dye. And all that means now is that you won't have a white background. Ooh, now my number 10 is missing in the middle, and that is not good. Let me get back in here. I might have to just totally redo this, because we need to see if that middle works. That's not good. Now, when I encounter a stamp like that, what I do personally is this. So first of all, I need to do the tea dye again. It's obviously going to work on a stamp platform with a lot of CPR, but because I'm doing it freehand, what I'll do is I'll put the paper down on top of the stamp, and that's usually how I deal with awkward surfaces. So here we go, we've got this. We're going to put some more prize ribbon onto it. Make sure it's all nicely covered. And then I'm going to guesstimate where I've just done that little bit of distress by looking, and I'm going to go there. So this is how I stamp awkward stamps, always by keeping a finger or your hand over it. And that's what we've got now, which is a lot better. So now you've got your tea dye base, and I'll just put my scissors here. Oh yeah, I know I did. And you can cut your stamp out. You can use a guillotine if you want it nice and straight, but this is just another way to add some colour into your stamping. Just a bit of fun. So let's get rid of that bit there. So now you've got your little stamp stamped down onto tea dye that was originally on white cardstock. And I'm just going to rough up my edges once again with a little bit of black soot, just because I like it. And then we'll multicolour that ticket die. So there's the stamp, and we've got our little postcards. I'm trying to keep everything in the picture here, but do you see how much fun you can have? Right, I'm just going to pause while I grab my other stuff. Right, so I went away and tidied up, and this time we're going to do the ticket, and this has got 25 what does that say, DIS or something under it. We'll find out what that is when it stamps. But because I think this is something that could be used for Christmas, because of the 25, I'm actually going to do the 25 in red, which is the festive berries. And I'm just going to load that up. I'm pushing those up so that you can see them. So I'm going to go festive berry in here. And then I'm going to go prize ribbon down the sides and black in the middle. Yeah, because we've got edges here. It's just, as I was saying, just a great fun way to quickly add colour to your stamps. And of course it's an excellent way of colouring flower stamps. And I think I've got some flowers to do. I don't know how big they are. But we'll do those. But tomorrow we're going to do the birds. We're going to do the birds and that Globeland die. Right, so now into black soot, just to finish off. And I'm popping that there. And I'm doing my middle bit Just make sure I did that line. And as I said before, don't worry if you go over the edges a bit, it doesn't really matter. And let's stamp this down. I'll try and do a little bit more CPR this time. So I am rubbing my fingers across it. And let's see what we end up with. Hopefully no spaces in the middle. Ah, that's not bad. So we're blue, black and red with that one. And then of course you can wait for that to dry and then blend over it with another colour if you want to. In fact, I've got my dryer here. My trusty old heat it tool. So I'm just going to dry that off. See my humidity in my paper? Isn't it great? Just starts curling up towards you. And I'm going to go, because we're doing vintagey, a little bit more tea dye. There. I'm going to leave that like that. And then I'm just going to trim it and I'll be right back. Right, so I've trimmed that off and I'm just going to do the edges once again. Now if you've got one of those edge distressors, and I have, but it's over on my other table, you can really rough these up and make them look old. But you can stamp in whatever colour you want to. So there we have our little ticket. We've got a stamp coloured down onto a different background, and we've got our two cute little postcards. And that is what I have for you today. So I do hope you have an absolutely awesome day, and tomorrow we're going to be up with either those flower cloches or the birds from Globeland. Have a wonderful day, and as usual, all links below. Bye.